Now we're turning our attention to the Middle East. Well, for the first time in 4 years, Israel will have an ambassador in Turkey. This follows some warming up of relations between both sides after a rift. Israel's foreign ministry says a senior diplomat, Irit Lillian, who has been in charge of the Israeli embassy in Ankara for the last 2 years, will serve as the ambassador. In 2018, Turkey withdrew its ambassador from Israel and ordered Israel's ambassador to leave in protest at Israel's killing of dozens of Palestinians and also in protest along the Gaza border. Once warm relations began to deteriorate after the election of Recep Tayyip Erdogan, an outspoken critic of Israel's treatment of the Palestinians as prime minister in 2003. A journalist and foreign affairs analyst, Kelechi Deka, joins me virtually here in Lagos for an analysis of the resurgence of diplomatic ties between Israel and Turkey. Good to have you join us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
The relations between, and I'm very sure you know that the relations between Turkey and Israel has been a long time coming, especially for a fact that Turkey was one of the very first majority Muslim countries to recognize the state of Israel. I think that was around 1949. But you've also seen how relations has broken down in a couple of years and coming to today, where it looks like they are now restoring ties. But let me ask you how you think, considering what the region is now like and where power seems to be tilting in that region, how do you think that this serves the interest of both countries?
Yeah, basically, if you watch closely what's been happening in that region, you will know that the geopolitical ground is shifting faster than the speed of thought. Yes, as at when Israel came into being as a state, Turkey then was also under a different government and a different ideology.
We seem to have lost connection there with Kelechi Deka. We'll try and reconnect with him. But in the meantime, let's move to other stories. At least 5 people have been killed and over 70 others injured by Iranian security forces firing live ammunition during a wave of protest in the Kurdish areas of western Iran over the death of a Kurdish woman in detention. 2 young men were killed by Iranian security forces in Iran's Kurdistan province after protests broke out over the killing of Mahsa Amini for alleged improper hijab usage. Several hours later, a human rights watchdog reported that 2 other people were killed in the city where protests originated from. At least 70 protesters have also been injured during the demonstrations, which are ongoing across Kurdish cities in western Iran. Amini was detained by Iran's morality police while visiting the capital city of Tehran earlier this week. Hours later, she was taken to a hospital after collapsing in prison. Authorities claim that the cause of death was a heart attack, but human rights activists and witnesses say she was beaten in the police van. Her death sparked outrage across Iran's western Kurdish region, with thousands of civilians and activists taking to the streets to protest the suspicious circumstances surrounding the young woman's demise. We're going back to the normalization of ties between Israel and Turkey. I understand that Kelechi Deka is back now. We did lose connection with you for a while, but you were speaking to how these normalization of ties between Israel and Turkey benefit both countries.
Yeah, as I was saying, Turkey is witnessing what's happening within the region. Israel is almost normalizing relations with all the Arab nations that were against it ab initio. And with the Gulf countries that have the big money, now normalizing relations with Israel, Turkey has found out that if it continues giving Israel a cold shoulder, it will be pushed out or within the Islamic economic circle. So he found out that it is in its own interest to normalize relationship with Israel. You couple with what's happening in Ukraine and Russia, and you found out the other day, Turkey took part in the NATO naval war, marine display with Greece. Greece that is its enemy. So things are happening. Countries are factoring all these things into effect, and they look at which one is the bigger enemy, which one is a smaller enemy, which one poses a bigger interest, which one poses a smaller interest. So by factoring all these things in, they kind of make fences with people where they stand to gain. And being having a good relationship with Israel at this moment becomes something that they thought is worthwhile. And it is in their own interest, and also it is in the interest of Israel because it helps to expand the Israeli sphere of influence within the region.
One of the issues that seem to have led to the rift is how President Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And then, but the primary issue is Israel's approach towards the Palestinian authorities. And that issue is still there today. And I'm just wondering, I'm asking you how, if that issue is still very much there, how sustainable do you think that how do you think that both countries will sustain relations if that is a primary issue for Turkey?
You see, in international relations, countries look at where they stand to gain the most. If supporting the Palestinian cause might make you to lose bigger in the within the bigger picture, then you mellow down on that support, while moving for the bigger picture. You notice that almost all the Arab states that were anti-Israel because of the issue of the Palestinian cause have now come to realize that the issue of Palestine is not something you will solve over, in a day or two, and that is a problem that's going to be with us for a longer period. So what they are doing now is that they look for the middle of the road approach, whereby they have a good relationship with Israel, and they also use it as a kind of approach and a leverage to try to get Israel to treat the Palestinians in a more friendly way. So from the look of things, the Palestinians are easily becoming a pawn on the chessboard of both the Arab states and also of Israel and their Western counterparts. So the countries are doing what countries do, and that is selfishness. In international diplomacy, you take care of your interest first before the interest of the other people, the others. So I think the challenge Palestinians are having now is that they have become a pawn for both parties.
But when you, because with your analysis, it almost sounds as though, because you keep talking about the Abrahamic Accord, Abraham Accord rather, and it does seem that the Turkey is steadily becoming a part of this accord. But this is an accord that Iran seems to have a problem with. Iran has always stood against that accord. And we also know that there are rebel groups within the Middle East who are also against this accord. And we've seen, just because of the visit of some ambassadors from Israel and United Arab Emirates to both countries, we've seen attacks in the United Arab Emirates. And I'm wondering how you expect Iran to react in the coming days to this normalization of ties.
Yeah, Iran is not going to like it. And you also have to understand the fact that Iran seems to become a kind of sore thumb within the region. The United Arab Emirates, the Saudi Arabia, Turkey, all those people don't seem to like Iran. But they know that the only power that can contain Iran in the region is Israel. So that's why they see in Israel that bully that can keep Iran at arm's length while they keep on having the level of peace they are having. They don't expect Iran to like it, and they are not even hiding their position from the Iranians. So Iran will continue to oppose whatever is happening because Iran does not believe and does not subscribe to the right of the state of Israel to exist. which is a far more extremist view compared to the other people. And because Iran is also sponsoring, some organizations which the other Arab nations see as subversive elements, their relationship with Iran is not that friendly. So they see, it's like you're keeping your enemy closer. So in Israel, they see that person who will keep an eye on Iran. So to them, they believe that keeping Iran at bay and holding Iran accountable is much more important to their economic and security benefit than what's happening in Palestine.
I mean, so much to watch out for here in terms of how these benefit both countries and even just the entire region, and how countries who do not benefit from this will react. Thank you so much for talking to us, journalist and foreign affairs analyst Kelechi Deka.
Thank you.